Welcome to my Black Ops 4 Dark Ops Challenge Guide series. In this episode, I'll be covering my first actual multiplayer Dark Ops challenge. Now, if you missed any of my prior guides, which were on the Blackout Dark Ops challenges, I'll link a playlist in the comments section. Today's episode is actually unique in that you get a whopping 3 Dark Ops challenges completed in one. The main focus, however, is Nuked Out. The challenge for the Nuked Out is to earn a nuclear medal in free-for-all without using score streak rewards. And to get 30 kills in free-for-all will also grant you the nuclear killer, which is to get 30 kills without dying, as well as a brutal killer, which is to get 25 kills without dying. So instead of making things more complex for yourself, I'd highly recommend just going straight for the Nuked Out. And trust me when I say that it's 100% achievable. Just as a reference, my KD ratio in Call of Duty hovers around 2.5 in most games. And by no means am I a pro or anywhere near it in skill. With that said, I've already got 6 Nuked Out gameplays in Black Ops 4. So if I can do it, you can do it as well. Follow my guide here and you'll be good to go. Now I'm going to break this down in 4 different sections: Loadout, Specialist, Score Streaks, and Tactics. And by the way, I'll be covering a normal core method as well as hardcore method. I know people always complain I never give strategies for hardcore players, but rest assured I've got you covered as well. So let's talk a class setup first. You can use whatever your favorite weapon is, but I'd highly recommend an assault rifle. While the Black Ops 4 beta was SMG prevalent, it's the assault rifles that reign supreme currently. The 2 guns I've personally got nuked out with are the Vapor and the KN-44. Again though, use whichever assault rifle you're most comfortable with. Now I'll give you my loadout for the Vapor class, which is my favorite one. I used an ELO sight for an optic, which is completely optional. For attachments, I used rapid fire to boost the fire rate and ensure my crappy connection can shoot out bullets faster than anyone else, the suppressor to stay off the radar with little downside, and fast mags to reload in a pinch and not get caught with my pants down. Of course, you can use any attachments you're most comfortable with. Now the first mandatory item is the most important, and that's the acoustic sensor gear piece. While it was toned down substantially from the beta, this gear gives you that 6th sense notification when an enemy is nearby. And this can be life-saving to say the least. In addition, it also makes footsteps louder. Being able to know where your enemies are at all times or when they're creeping up on you is a must for getting a Nuked Out. The other mandatory item is Dead Silence, which you can find in perk category 3. Hearing your own Ronald McDonald Bozo the Clown footsteps won't do you any good, especially when you've got acoustic sensor equipped. Dead Silence will ensure that you can hear everyone traipsing around next to you more clearly. Now in perk 2, while it's not mandatory, I'd recommend Gung Ho. This will reduce your sprint out times pretty drastically, which is extremely beneficial when every second counts in a gunfight. In perk 1, I'd go with Scavenger. It's not 100% needed, as you'll soon see, but it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to having sufficient ammo. So that's my personal class setup. Again, you can modify it at your own discretion, but make sure you at least have the acoustic sensor and Dead Silence equipped. Next up is the Specialist character. Now you'll get differing opinions on this one, but the one I've achieved the most nuked out medals with is Crash. Of note here, some of the Specialist weapons count towards the nuke and some don't. For example, Nomads Dog does not count, so if you run him, ensure you don't call in your dog. This is the only one I know for sure that doesn't count, but I wouldn't risk trying anyone else that has an actual weapon. And oddly enough, Specialist abilities do seem to count. So in Nomad's case, you can safely use the mesh mines to get kills. Still, I'd recommend Crash, but let me tell you why. First, his Assault Pack ability. This is going to help twofold. First, it acts as your own personalized scavenger perk, so theoretically you should never run out of ammo since it recharges so fast. Using Crash, I've never ran out of ammo going for a Nuked Out, but if you feel more comfortable, equip the scavenger perk to make it a surefire thing. Second, you get a bonus for using the Assault Pack ammo, and this is vital to our Nuked Out strategy. In free-for-all, you get 100 points per kill. With the Assault Pack ammo, however, you get a bonus of 25, so that's 125 points per kill. Or if you kill an enemy with body armor, you get 50 points. Now this effect will last until you die. And guess what? We're not dying here. So essentially, you get 25 more points per kill every kill until the game ends. This is a huge bonus, and it's almost like equipping the ComSec gear for faster streaks. Next, Crash's special weapon is the TAC-5. If you've never used this before, it heals you instantly and boosts your health to 200. So let's say you get cold cocked into oblivion and only have 5 health left with another enemy approaching. You can use this to instantly go to 200 health. You can even get this off mid-fight, which is extremely valuable. In my most recent Nuked Out, I completed the match in 6 minutes, and I got the TAC 5 twice, nearly reaching a third time. So you can safely assume you'll get this at least twice. Next up are score streaks. As the description of Nuked Out states, you can't use score streak rewards, or can you? The first 2 streaks should be pretty obvious. You'll want the UAV and the counter UAV. These more than likely won't do much for you except distract the enemy momentarily. I'd say 90% of the time both of these get shot down before they can supply you with vital information. But sometimes you'll get pretty lucky. The last streak, believe it or not, is the strike team. Now before anyone gets their knickers in a twist, let me assure everyone that this does count towards these medals. And as far as I know, this isn't a glitch. In the beta, it was the exact same way. Every lethal score streak in the game won't count towards these medals except the strike team. Now there was a glitch where the gunship was counting towards these medals as well, but they promptly fixed that. Considering they didn't mess with the strike team, I can safely conclude it's intended for the kills to count. And if you think the strike team is terrible, then you've never used it in a free-for-all match. These guys can get you upwards of 9 to 15 kills in a single call-in, which means to get a Nuked Out, you can technically only need to get 15 to 21 kills, depending on how crazy they go. Now don't be alarmed by the cost of the strike team either, which is $13.50 currently. Thanks to Crash's Assault Pack, you can essentially get this at 11 or 12 kills, depending on how many people are using body armor in your match. Now we're on to the most important part of this guide, and that's the tactics. I've supplied you with all the knowledge to succeed in earning a Nuked Out, but you have to play extremely cautious to make this work. First and foremost, don't freak out about the start of the match. I'd say as many as 8 out of 10 times you first spawn in, there'll be an enemy right next to you. If you die here, don't panic, it's not the end of the world. You'll still get the Nuked Out as long as you start your streak after you die. So let me repeat that. The streak doesn't start until your first kill. So you could go 0-10 to start the match and then get 30 kills in a row without dying and still get the Nuked Out. Now the main key to earning a Nuked Out is map patrolling. It sounds intimidating, but it's really simple. The main idea is to choose one set location on the map and patrol the area by going around in circles, back and forth, waiting to kill people off the spawn. Now you obviously never want to go towards the middle of a map, and the fewer entry points available for your enemy, the better. For example, here on the map Payload, I love to patrol the back left side of the map. There's only 2 entrances enemies can get to you here, which makes it incredibly easy. With the acoustic sensor's help, as well as dead silence, you can easily hear or see an approaching enemy, and then you can pre-ADS to catch them off guard. Now you can push upwards or backwards a little further if you're confident in your gun skills, but always resort back to your patrol area to ensure your safety. Now I need to stress that the biggest strategy here is patience. Don't look at the scoreboard. One of my Nuked Out gameplays, I was 10 kills behind and I still won. You've got a lot of things going against you going for a Nuked Out, especially playing passive like this. And that includes losing to a player that is gathering up more kills faster than you. Again though, don't stress about this. The tides can turn instantly in a free-for-all match. Stick to the patrolling strategy, going back and forth and waiting for enemies to spawn. You should hit your first assault pack about 1 minute into the match, depending on how many kills you've got. And this is where the bonus points for kills comes into play. You should get your UAV and counter UAV after about 2 kills with the assault pack bonus. If the enemy allows it, use this information along with the acoustic sensor to your advantage. More than likely though, they'll get destroyed instantly. Just keep on patrolling the same area in the same manner as you push towards your strike team. You'll then get another assault pack that you can use to refresh your ammo if you're running low. And then around the 8 kill mark, or approximately the 7-minute timer, you should get your first TAC 5 health bonus. What you choose to do with this is up to you. If you're not confident in your gun skills, you can use it right away to boost to 200 health. If you are confident, use it the gunfight after you sustain damage to instantly heal you and get that 200 bonus. Next, continue on patiently patrolling until you earn your strike team, and then call that in instantly. Now here's where you can relax just a bit, but don't let your guard down too much. Continue the patrolling technique as your 2 additional teammates reign supreme on the enemy. If you feel more comfortable corner camping at this point, that's also a legit tactic. Just let your strike team put in some work. Now I myself continue to patrol my route, but to each their own here. The strike team, in addition to whatever kills you acquire during their time on the map, could be enough to end the game here. You'll likely receive another assault pack as well as another TAC 5 during their warpath, so use them wisely. So that sounds almost too easy to be true, right? Find a suitable patrolling spot, move back and forth between enemy entrance points, use the assault pack, and then earn a strike team. But basically, that's all there is to it. The issue is finding a suitable area to patrol. I've got a few that I personally like, but it's up to you to find one that won't get overwhelmed too easily. Of course, now let's talk about the Mickey Mouse Bull Squash items preventing your nuked out. These are things that are entirely out of your control. For example, a sniper. I can't tell you how many times I've had to jump on an enemy using a sniper rifle only for him to snipe my face off on a 25 gun streak. The insta-death from a sniper is rage-inducing. Speaking of which, Nomads Dog. If you see a Nomad in your lobby, you may as well back out. If their dog is on the prowl, it doesn't matter how much health you have. It'll eat a full clip of bullets and still bite your wang off. And then there's Recon's Vision Pulse. If you get lit up like a Christmas tree, you'd better pucker those cheeks and hope to God he isn't coming your way. This one isn't so bad though, especially if you have only 2 choke points to patrol. You'll both know each other are coming, so it's the best gun skill that will be the victor. Then there's the random care package treat. If an enemy somehow gets a care package while you're patrolling, odds are they're going to get a streak that can ruin your day, such as a Hellstorm, a Mantis, a gunship, or even the RC car. Any score streak can potentially knock you off a huge streak. Lastly, there's something I like to call the Willy Wankin Revenge Seekers. If you kill the same person in the same manner repeatedly, you'd better anticipate the swarming bee effect. They'll drop everything they're doing to ensure that you die. Chances are they'll see that you're on a high streak and make it a top priority to end your existence. This is probably the #1 streak ender, and that's because you make too many enemies mad. No one likes dying to a camper, or in our case, a patroller. So by the time the match is midway through, you've enraged a swarm of these revenge seekers, and you can quickly become overwhelmed by multiple enemies on your patrol point. More often than not, they'll come from both directions and pickle Rick you into an ice cream sandwich of death. So yes, the tactics are easy enough, but the amount of things that can poop on your parade are quite high. So again, I stress patience. You likely won't get a nuked out in your first few attempts, but once you find the right choke points to patrol and earn your strike team, your odds get drastically better. So how about the hardcore players? Thankfully, most of the same techniques apply. For the class setup, I'd swap out the acoustic sensor for the equipment charge. Since the acoustic sensor only highlights people with a UAV up, it's pretty worthless. Now granted, you would still hear the footsteps louder though. You can also obviously take off the suppressor if it's one of the attachments you're using. The score streaks remain the same, however, which are the UAV, the counter UAV, and the strike team. For the specialist, personally, I still use Crash, but if you feel more confident using Recon, that's also a safe bet. Recon's sensor dart can be incredibly handy, and when you get the Vision Pulse, you can grab quite a few free kills. Now Crash's TAC 5 does give you a boost in hardcore, although not much. Instead of dying in 1 to 2 bullets, it'll instead be 2 to 3. Still, that can be huge for saving your life. The problem with hardcore is that you can't tell when you have your abilities available. There is an audio cue, but it can be hard to hear. So I like to spam the specialist button every now and again just to see if I have anything available. Now again, the tactics are pretty similar, except you can feel free to actually camp in hardcore. Since there's no kill cam, it's hard for the average player to pinpoint where exactly he died from. Now I would still patrol, but shorten your traveling to the newbie booby levels, so that you're basically corner camping. The UAV will be extremely vital once you get it, but chances are it'll get shot down even faster than it does in core. Now I don't want to say that hardcore is easier to get a nuked out than core, since you can die almost instantly to every weapon in the game. But I will say that I got my nuked out in a flat 4 minutes, which is incredibly fast. If you can camp or patrol your way to the strike team, these guys do double the work in hardcore. Since everyone dies so fast anyway, they can kill a lot more people. Once you call in the strike team, I'd highly advise you to literally sit in a spot and don't move. If someone runs by your camping spot, then you can spray them. But try not to attract too much attention. Let the strike team do their work and then see how many kills you need to achieve the nuked out once they're finished. The same insta-death things apply in hardcore, including the revenge seekers. But it's much harder for them to seek revenge without the kill cams. And that, as they say, is that. Now I consider myself a mediocre player at best, but I've got more nuked out medals in Black Ops 4 than I've got in the past 10 years of playing Call of Duty. The most important thing to take away from this strategy is that the strike team aids you in achieving the gunmetal kills. Without this, there's probably no way I'd even have one nuked out. So to sum things up here, once you learn which area of a map you want to patrol, sprint to it right away at the start of the match. If you die on the way there, you're still good to go as long as you didn't kill anyone yourself. Once you're at your patrolling zone, cautiously use your sound whoring aids to your advantage. Then use your Assault Pack and Tech 5 specialist abilities to reach your score streaks faster, and then call in your strike team. Then simply continue to patrol and pick off your enemies. With the combined strength of your strike team, the acoustic sensor, and Crash's abilities, you'll be earning a Nuked Out in no time.